Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Drew. This is Just a Guy at Linux. And today I'm going to be talking about my website, but not really to promote the website, but I do want to explain how I built the website. Now, I have done a video in the past regarding Hugo static site generator. I have now switched to mkdocs, and this is going to be about that. There's definitely a couple reasons why I wanted to switch, and it had nothing to do with Hugo. Hugo is fantastic for what it is. However, let me just go over here. So this is my documentation repo at GitHub. So let's just say I'm going into Home Lab and then clicking on in3, and you can see the document that I created regarding my Home Lab and using TrueNAS scale. So the question was, why have it in more than one location? I have my personal website. I also have my documentation and so on. Just combine the two. And that's why I decided to use mkdocs for my personal website. So now when I go and I look at my justaguylinux.com and I go into Home Lab and I click on hardware, there is the same document, but on my actual website and not buried in some GitHub somewhere. I really also think the search is very, very good. So if I go to Genie, for example, and I'm just going to pick this top one, but you can see 5 matching documents. So basically on this website, I've mentioned it 5 different times. I wonder if I like Genie. So I'm just going to click on the top one. And in this one, this is some documentation that describes how I actually set up my Genie on my machine with all the plugins that I use. And there's also a couple different videos that I've done on this. Anyway, you get the idea. Now I am going to point this out. It's not very special, but I did want this functionality. Up here, if you click on light mode, you can see the same, and you can see the same version of the website except with different color scheme. And if I want to, I can switch it back to a dark mode or light. And there's a automatic button here too. So it just kind of like starts off in this, and if you want to, you can switch it to a light mode. And also, I wanted to be able to use a specific CSS. And that is something that can be part of the configuration. We'll get to that in a minute. I am going to switch gears here for about, 15 or 20 seconds. I wanted to mention about this Shift key desktop, and I'll have a link in the description below. This is the GitHub desktop application that I use for interacting with GitHub. I mentioned it on the LinuxCast podcast as a nuggie of the week, and we talked a little bit about it, but I did want to mention that I will be using it here. Sorry, another couple seconds and I'll be done with this. So basically what I do is I go over here and I download the AMD64 Debian file and then install it that way. If you don't want to, you can always just use the app image or what have you. But I use this Debian file and install it natively. Okay. Now I am going to admit to something really quickly, and that is that this may not be the best way to do this, but this is accurate in how I created this Just a Guy Linux library. So I just want to put that out there. I have seen other videos that do this a completely different way. I am going to show you the way I created this website. So step 1, I'm going to go over to this particular mkdocs-material-starter page on GitHub, link in the description below, and I'm going to say use this template and create a new repository. Okay, now I am logged in to my GitHub, and I'm just going to call this YouTube doc example. Okay. And I'm going to just hit, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to use it as public. So I'm going to create the repository. Okay. Now it'll only take a minute, or actually it just says a few seconds, and we're done. So we are going to kind of review this because this is exactly what we are going to do. We're going to go to this dash.cloudflare.com. So by following the instructions, we're going to go to this dash.cloudflare.com. I have an account there already, so I am going to open this in a new tab. But I'm also going to go to the workers and pages where I'm going to create. I'm going to connect to Git, and I'm going to link it, and I'm going to use the mkdocs as the framework. So let's go over here, and we're going to click on workers and pages. Okay. And you'll notice that I already have this Just a Guy Linux docs, and these are the two URLs which are active. So this is what you saw when you saw my justaguylinux.com website, is this particular build of Cloudflare pages. So I am going to go to create because we have this example. I'm going to go click on pages. All right. I'm going to connect to Git. Now, unfortunately, the only repository that I gave it access to was my GitHub repo for the actual website. So what I need to do is I'm going to go ahead and open link in new tab here. And like I said, I only gave it access to one thing, and that's the JAG mkdocs. But now I want to add another one, and that is going to be the example one. Did I miss it? Oh, here it is. Sorry. It took me too long to do that. But all right, so I just added this YouTube doc example and then hit save. Okay, let's see if that's something we can do again. All right, maybe we just need to do the whole thing again. So let's go to pages. I'm going to create. I'm going to go into pages again, connect. And there it is. So I am going to just select this YouTube doc example and hit begin setup. And I'm going to leave it as master branch. Okay. Now, if you recall, the framework preset was mkdocs. So we're just going to click on this and we're going to leave everything exactly the same and hit save and deploy. Okay. Now this might take a minute or two. Okay, so I am going to pause. Okay, so it has been deployed and it is located at this particular URL, youtube.docexample.pages.dev. And I have it open over here. And so this is an active website. And this is showing the mkdocs material template. And this is where you start. Now that just got you started. And so what I'm going to show you next is what my website documents look like and the configuration file that goes with it. So I'm going to go over actually to my Genie, and I am going to, it's in my projects JAG mkdocs. So this is my website. So I'm just going to go set as root. Okay. And I'm going to go and open up my mkdocs YAML file and the requirements.txt file. Because this requirements.txt file is in this root directory, when it gets uploaded, that's what Cloudflare Pages looks at and then builds accordingly. So it's incorporating all of these packages, including many of the mkdocs plugins. Now, I have not gotten it to work with this RSS plugin. I am working on it, but everything else gets installed with no problems. So I am going to close this and let's go to the mkdocs.yaml file. Now I have opened up the original mkdocs file. This is what the mkdocs.yaml file looks like out of the box. So you have quite a bit of configuration to do once you are at that stop point. So this is, again, is what mine looks like. You'll see the site name, description, and URL. And I put the navigation at the very front of my configuration file. Now, do you have to do the navigation manually? The answer is no, but I chose to do it this way. Ultimately, I wanted complete control of where things showed up on my navigation, and the best way to do that was to actually just do it yourself. So that's what I have done. So you're going to see that there are top level categories and then secondary level categories and so on. And even right here under Home Lab, I have a third level, which is under this Nextcloud. And you get the idea of what it will look like and where things are located. So if you are in the docs directory, okay, if you're in the docs directory, you're going to see that there are folders here. So you don't actually have to do like software, for example, okay? You don't have to say docs/software/index. It is implied that everything is located in the docs directory. Now, one more time, just to be perfectly clear, I'm going to go over here to Thunar just so I can make my point more clearly. Okay, this is the root directory of my website. Okay, it includes this requirements.txt, the README file, and the mkdocs.yaml, so the configuration file. Everything else is in this docs directory. Okay, so index is going to be your home page, contact page, about page, and so on. Everything else, let's just use software as the example again, is in a markdown file within a subdirectory if you want it. Now you can have literally everything in one directory. I just like to use subdirectories to make things a little bit more clear to me, okay? But I just want to make sure that you don't have to create directories at all if you want to. You can just keep everything in one level and you're gold. So let's go back to workspace 1 and let's continue our discussion about this configuration file. There is a copyright. I am using the material theme, but I've also changed the location of both the logo and the fave icon. So what does that look like? The fave icon is right here. You can see it in this tab. And then this is the logo for the website. I added this palette so that you could switch from a dark theme to a light theme. That's the only reason for this particular part of the configuration file. These are the features. There are a lot of features. And if you want to, there's plenty of documentation. I'll leave a link in the description about a couple websites that have really good documentation, but not hard to find at all, okay? I'm only using 3 plugins, okay? There's the search plugin, the social plugin, and then the tags. So the search is pretty self-explanatory, and we talked about that. Let's go over to the actual site. This down here is part of the social plugin, okay? And then, what was the other one? What was the other one? Oh, tags, there we go. Tags. So I actually have a page rather, that says tabs, and then you can say, oh, look, I want to go to kernel. And there's one document up there that has a reference to kernel. And that's something that you can add to your markdown document manually. I'm not going to talk about these markdown extensions. But as far as the social at the very bottom, this is where you define that in your configuration. And then, like I said before, I wanted a CSS file so I could change the colors. Now, do you need a CSS file? No. What will it look like? It'll look like this. And if you like the blue, that's fine. I wanted to have Debian colors, which is why I changed the CSS file right here and to be more Debian-like. So I added a couple of this red color. Let's go back to my website here, okay? I wanted this red, this rose or whatever you want to call it, to be a accent, okay? I also wanted dark. But if I go to the light theme, you're going to see that I wanted this red that Debian uses to be a prominent part of the color scheme. And that is why I changed that CSS file. Okay? And you're going to see it right here. Now I'm going to show you two things. One's going to be an error, and I want to be able to show you what the error looks like. Okay, so I'm going to close this and close this. Now I'm going to go to this YAML, and I'm going to basically create an error. Okay, so I'm just going to put a new plugin, and we're going to call it RSS because there is an RSS plugin that's supposed to work. Okay, but I am going to just save this. All right, now, because I'm using the Git change bar plugin for Genie, you'll see that it's green, which means this has been added. So I am going to go over to workspace 4 where my GitHub desktop application is running, and it shows that there has been an added -RSS to the YAML file. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit commit to master. Now remember, this is at this site, or this, the location of these files is at GitHub, not Cloudflare. So I'm pushing this to GitHub. Now I'm going to go over here, and right now I'm looking at my my Cloudflare, and here it is. This is the actual page that we are trying to change. So I'm going to go into view details, all right, and you'll see that the log is building out the actual website. Now what's going to happen is it's going to fail, okay, when it gets down to here, and we're just going to let it fail. Boom. Okay, so if you have a problem like this, okay, you may want to just go and look at the log and say, oh, what happened? And then sometimes it will give you clues as to what happened, especially if you are looking at an actual document that doesn't change, that has been, I don't know, there's got to be a reason for this error, okay? But I am going to go back, and I'm going to manage deployment. Actually, I don't want to do that. I want to go over here. And since this is a failed deployment, I usually just come over here and say delete. Okay, and just delete the deployment. All right. So I am going to go back over to this because this was the only change that I made, and it failed. And I knew that it was going to fail. So I'm going to just remove that line and hit save. Okay. Now, I also want to add another page to my website. Okay. So I'm going to put it in my thoughts. And we're going to talk about, I don't know, I'm going to put it right here under overview, and I'm going to say space and then cosmic. Okay. And it's going to be in the thoughts directory, and then we're going to just call it cosmic, cosmic.md, okay? And we're going to save that. Now, it just so happens that I do have a cosmic markdown file already created. I'm wondering, where is that? If I go over here, yep. And I'm going to go into documents, and there's my cosmic file, and I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put it in my projects and mkdocs. So this is the actual website, and I'm going to drop it in my thoughts directory. Okay. Now I am going to go ahead and open that in a second, but I am just going to paste that here. All right. So that I can look at it. So now let me go over here to thoughts, and you'll see that in my in my GitHub website, I have this cosmic MD. Now I want to make sure that I am including tags. Okay, so I'm just going to go over here to kernel, and you can see that the tags are right here. I'm just going to copy these for now, and then I'm going to put these right here, and I'm just going to say cosmic thoughts desktop environment, okay, and then hit save. Now, this is now part of this GitHub repo. So let's go back over here, and you're going to see there has been an addition to this GitHub repo with this cosmic.markdown. And then I also changed this part of my navigation, and I removed the RSS plugin. And now I'm just going to say add cosmic to site. All right, and hit commit. And now push the origin. Okay. And now I'm going to go back over here, and you're going to see that there is a new deployment in progress. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and hit view. And it's building the application. So every time there is an update to that GitHub repo, Cloudflare is connected to it, sees it, and then redeploys the website. Should only take us a couple more seconds here. And there you go. So now it's starting to actually deploy. And it looks like we're good. Okay. So let me go back over here, and I'm going to just refresh the page. So if I go to thoughts, and there it is, there's Cosmic for you. And so when I click on this, there it is. There's the new page regarding the Cosmic desktop environment. Okay, so I don't know how long this video is. I could go over this quite a bit more. I just won't. But if you get the idea, or if this piques your interest, I hope that you take advantage. And this is a fantastic static site generator for your documentation needs. Okay. Anyway, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.